Hello, my fellow abnormals. So, I don't even remember if I posted last week or this week or when. I'm sorry, things are a bit confusing. I started work. So now I'm working and going in between thousands of places where I live, where I study, where other people live. It's a whole fun game. In any case, this week, other than starting a new job, which was, actually really awesome, I was a little worried about it. And seeing some friends and having a friend getting married. I also came to a few realizations about myself. Something I learned is something that was pointed out to me and that I learned is sometimes moving on, working towards something isn't the same as healing. Sometimes you're just dealing with the symptoms of things and finding a positive way to do it. They're not always the same thing. And sometimes it's important to look at yourself and look at how you're feeling rather than just try to make it go away. Like you're feeling bad, so you want to do things to make that feeling go away. And you think you're doing things that are in the long run changing them. In actuality, they're just short-term, little fixes. And short-term little fixes help with the short-term problems, not the long-term ones. And short-term problems are usually influenced by the long-term ones, regardless of what we believe. It's kind of like when you're like, I want to lose weight, so I'm not going to eat chocolate. So not eating chocolate, you're dealing with that short period of time, but you have to do other things to lose weight. You're not going to just lose weight by not eating chocolate. Maybe you won't gain weight, and maybe you won't gain as much weight as you would have if you continued eating chocolate. And so you'll be losing weight by not gaining weight or whatever, but you're not actually doing anything. You're just kind of, sidestepping. So that's something I realized. And I realized sometimes when you don't take care of the long-term problem, it can cause like random periods of negativity to appear. Like let's say you want to get over a person. So, date other people, you see other things, you tell yourself you don't need them, hoity-toity, like la-ti-ta-ta, whatever. And that's fine. So now you're not alone. You're not alone, so you're dealing with the fact that you're not alone because the other person made you feel alone, so you got rid of that problem. But there's a whole slew of problems that came up from moving past that person. It's not just now I'm alone, so let me not be alone. It's not just I want support from someone, so I have support from a new person. It's sometimes kind of like scars that they left. And a scar is once it's healed, and before that it's just like a festering wound. And you can, take as much Advil as you want and you can put a Band-Aid on it, but until you take proper care, it's still going to be festering. And it's just going to be getting worse and worse and worse until you decide to look at the root of a problem and deal with it. And that sometimes can be the hardest thing because you know that once you actually look at it and once you try, you can't take back that image and you have to deal with it. And it's just so much easier dealing with the small little things like, I'm alone, and it just makes you feel good because you're also accomplishing something. But in actuality, you have to deal with the root of a problem or it'll never go away. It's just going to be there forever, getting worse and worse underneath the surface. And I know a lot of people believe that there are ways to do things that you don't actually have to deal with it, and maybe they work for some people, but I think the majority of people need to deal with the root of a problem in order to make the whole thing go away. It's fun to deal with, small symptoms here and there, and that's great, and you have an accomplishment under your belt, but long term you should have just dealt with the root, and it might take more time, but the effects will last a longer period of time as well. So that's what I got to think about today. That's what I get to think about for a long time until I deal. But that doesn't mean that I don't get to be happy. It doesn't mean that I don't get to be strong and thrive. It just means that I have to start paying attention to healing also. So, without further ado, I must say have a great weekend and just find a reason to smile because it just helps healing so much more if you have a positive attitude about it rather than just a depressed and sad one.